Welcome to Infidelity Truths. Before we dive into today's gripping story, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more thrilling stories just for you. Let's begin.
My name is Lena, and I used to believe I was unshakable. The kind of person who'd never cross a line, never hurt someone who trusted me. That was before I learned how fear can twist your heart, and how guilt can carve out a home in your bones. This is the story of how I broke everything I cherished, and how I'm still picking up the pieces. 3 years ago, I met Julian. He wasn't the loudest guy in the room, but he had this quiet gravity that pulled you in. Dark eyes, a crooked smile, and a way of listening that made you feel like your words were the only ones that mattered. I was a mess back then, fresh out of a dead-end job, scraping by in a city that felt too big. Julian was my anchor. We met at a bookstore, of all places, reaching for the same dog-eared copy of The Great Gatsby. He laughed, handed it to me and said, "You read it first, but you owe me coffee to tell me if it's worth it." That coffee turned into dinner, then a walk, then a life together. For 2 years we built something real. We'd cook dinner in our tiny apartment, dance to old jazz records, and plan a future that felt like a promise. Julian wasn't perfect, he worked too much, forgot to call when he was running late, but he was steady. He loved me in a way that felt like home. I told myself I'd never risk that. But then I met Tessa. She was a coworker new to the team, all sharp wit and reckless energy. First it was just banter over lunch breaks. She'd tease me about my predictable routines, and I'd fire back about her chaotic dating stories. It was harmless, or so I told myself. But somewhere along the way, her texts started lighting up my phone after hours. I'd smile at them when Julian was asleep, telling myself it was just friendship. I wasn't that kind of person, right? The lies started small. I'd tell Julian I was working late when I was grabbing drinks with Tessa. I'd mute her notifications when he was around. I didn't even know why I was hiding it. Nothing had happened. But there was this pull, this thrill of something new that I hadn't felt in years. Julian's steadiness started to feel like a cage, and Tessa's chaos felt like freedom. I didn't admit it to myself, but I was chasing that spark, even if it meant burning everything down. All unraveled one rainy night. Julian was out of town for a conference, and Tessa came over with a bottle of whiskey and a playlist that felt like a dare. We talked, we laughed, and then we didn't stop. I wasn't drunk, wasn't swept away, I made a choice. In that moment I wanted to be someone else, someone who didn't play it safe. When it was over I stared at the ceiling, my stomach churning with something heavier than guilt. It was like I'd stepped outside myself and saw the wreckage I'd caused. Julian came home the next day and I played the part. I hugged him, asked about his trip, made his favorite pasta. But I couldn't look him in the eye. A week later he found my phone, left open on the counter. Tessa's messages were there, bold and undeniable. "Last night was wild. When's round 2? I'll never forget the way Julian's voice cracked when he said, "Lena, what is this?" I tried to lie. Said it was a misunderstanding, that Tessa was just a friend. But he'd seen enough dates, times, the nights I'd said I was with colleagues. He didn't yell. He just looked at me like I was a stranger. Then he grabbed his jacket and left. No fight, no words, just silence that cut deeper than any argument could. I thought he'd come back. I called, texted, left voicemails that ranged from apologies to incoherent sobs. Nothing. His friends stopped answering me. His social media went quiet. I started unraveling, checking his old locations, driving by his favorite bar, hoping to catch a glimpse of him. I told myself I just needed to explain, to make him see I wasn't that person. But deep down I knew I was. Months passed, and I turned my anger inward. I told myself Julian was too serious, too predictable. I convinced myself I'd done it because I needed more. But then I saw him a year later at a park. He was with someone new. A woman with bright eyes and a laugh that carried. He looked lighter, like he'd shed the weight of my betrayal. She touched his arm and he smiled. A real smile, not the one I'd stolen. That's when it hit me. I wasn't the victim of some grand, tragic mistake. I was the one who'd taken something beautiful and shattered it for a fleeting rush. I went home and deleted Tessa's contact, every message, every trace. Not because I thought it would fix anything, but because I was tired of pretending I wasn't the problem. I started therapy, not to fix myself for Julian, but to face the truth. I'd been scared of commitment, of losing myself in someone else's love. I'd used Tessa as an escape, and I'd hurt the one person who'd seen me at my best that I wrote Julian a letter I never sent. It ended with, "I don't expect you to care, but I'm sorry. Not for my sake but for yours. You deserved better." I didn't hear from him for 2 years. Then out of nowhere a text. "I'm good, Lena. Hope you are too." It wasn't forgiveness, and it wasn't a door back into his life. It was closure, and it broke me open in a way I didn't expect. I cried, not for what I'd lost, but because he was free. And maybe, just maybe, I could be too. I'm sharing this not because I'm proud, but because someone out there needs to hear it. You can be the one who breaks a heart and still learn to mend your own. You can lose everything and still find something worth salvaging. But it starts with the truth about who you are, what you've done, and what you're willing to change. I'm not there yet, but I'm trying. And for the first time, that feels like enough.
Thank you, my amazing subscribers. Wow, what a journey. If you've made it to the end of this story, I just want to take a moment to say thank you. Your support means everything to me. Every time you watch, like, and comment, you're helping keep this channel alive and growing. And trust me, the best is yet to come. I see all your comments. I feel your love, and I truly appreciate each and every one of you. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. Your thoughts and feedback inspire me to create even more powerful stories. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you never miss a new upload. More shocking twists, emotional journeys, and real-life lessons are on the way, and I don't want you to miss a single one. Together, we're building an incredible community, and I'm so grateful to have you on this journey with me. Stay strong, stay inspired, and remember, sometimes life's greatest lessons come from the most unexpected moments. See you in the next story.